Hello everyone, welcome to Talent Sprint. In this session, we are going to discuss about the problems on calendars, which is very common in many competitive exams. This is a very interesting area where we have to find out the day of the week for the given date. And the questions here can be classified into two broad categories. Category 1, where we need to find out the day of the week for the given date when some other date and day is specified. And category 2, where we need to find out the day of the week for the given date when there is no other date or day being specified. This whole idea of finding out the day of the week for the given date is based on the concept of odd days. But before we learn anything about odd days, let us discuss a few basics of calendar. Calendar, as you all know, is an instrument which is used to indicate, keep and organize the days in the given year. You must be aware that we all follow the Gregorian calendar, which is also known as the Western calendar or the Christian calendar. And in the Gregorian calendar, the year starts on the 1st of January and ends on 31st of December. This calendar has been named after Pope Gregory XIII, who designed it in the year 1582. So let me make it clear that in this session, whenever we use the word calendar, we would refer to the Gregorian calendar, which is internationally the most widely used civil calendar. Moving on, we know that a year is classified into two types, or there are two types of years. One is an ordinary year and the second one is a leap year. So let us understand what is the difference in these 2 years. So as I've mentioned, there are two types of years, ordinary year and a leap year. An ordinary year has got 365 days. Whereas in a leap year, as you all must know, we have 366 days. So basically the difference here is a leap year has got one more day than an ordinary year, right? Ordinary year has got 365 days, whereas leap year has got 366 days. So one additional day when compared to an ordinary year. Let us now understand what is the need for a leap year. Why does it so happen that we have one extra day in a leap year, which you know occurs every 4 years? The reason that we have a leap year which occurs every 4 years is to keep our calendar in alignment with the Earth's revolution around the Sun. Earth takes 365 days, 5 hours, 48 minutes and 46 seconds, which is approximately 365 days and 6 hours. Or we can also equate it to 365 complete days and 1/4 of a day. So this is the time required by the Earth to complete one circle around the Sun. Hence, an ordinary year, though it is considered to have 365 days, it actually has 365 and 1/4 of a day. Now in a leap year, which occurs after every 4 years, we have one extra day, which is a result of 4 quarter days in those 4 years. So the point here is, if we do not consider this one additional day every 4 years, that is in a leap year, we would lose 6 hours from our calendar every year, which is about 24 days in 100 years. That is, if we assume that all the years are ordinary years without having any leap year and every year has got 365 days, then every 100 years we would lose 24 days. So to keep our calendar in alignment with the Earth's revolution around the Sun, we have a leap year which occurs every 4 years, and this leap year has got one extra day. So this is the precise reason that we have a leap year with one extra day, and it occurs every 4 years. It is there just to match our calendars with the Earth's revolution around the Sun. Let us now understand how do we decide whether a given year is an ordinary year or a leap year. The simple point here is that if the given year is divisible by 4, then it is a leap year. And if it is not divisible by 4, then it is to be considered an ordinary year. For example, 2014. How do we check if 2014 is a leap year or an ordinary year? Just divide 2014 by 4. If 2014 is exactly divisible by 4, then it becomes a leap year. Otherwise, it is an ordinary year. Now you know the divisibility for 4 from the number systems topic. How do we check if a number is divisible by 4 or not? Just consider the last 2 digits. If the last 2 digits of the number is divisible by 4, then the whole number is divisible by 4. So here the last 2 digits in 2014 is 14. Now is 14 divisible by 4? No, 14 is not exactly divisible by 4. Hence 2014 is also not divisible by 4. And if 2014 is not divisible by 4, then it is an ordinary year. So we can say 2014 is an ordinary year. Right? Likewise, 2015. 2015, you know the last two digits are 15. And 15 is not divisible by 4. Hence, this is not a leap year. It becomes an ordinary year. And when we look at 2016, what happens? 2016, the last two digits are 16. And because 16 is exactly divisible by 4, we can say 2016 is also divisible by 4. And from the rules we know that if the given year is divisible by 4, then it becomes a leap year. So 2016 will be a leap year. Likewise, 2020 will be a leap year. Or for that matter, 2004 was a leap year. And so on. So if a year is divisible by 4, then it becomes a leap year. Whereas if it is not divisible by 4, for example, 1999. 99 is not divisible by 4, hence this is an ordinary year, right? 1947 is 47 divisible by 4? No, this becomes an ordinary year, right? 1948, let's take 1948. You know that 48 is divisible by 4, hence 1948 becomes divisible by 4 and it makes it a leap year. So simple point here is, if the given year is divisible by 4, then it is a leap year, like in all these cases, 2016, 2020, 2004, 1948 and so on. And if it is not divisible by 4, 2014, 2015, 1999, 1947 or any number there for that matter. If it is not divisible by 4, then it is to be an ordinary year. Right? So 2014 becomes an ordinary year, 2016 becomes a leap year. But remember, this rule is not applicable for century years. Now what do you mean by century year? Century year means 2000, 1900, 1800, 2100, right? Century is 100 years. One century is 100 years. So for century years, this divisibility by 4 is not applicable. For a century year to be leap year, it must be divisible by 400. For example, if you look at 2000, the year 2000 is divisible by 400. Hence 2000, the century year, can be taken as a leap year. Whereas if you look at 1900 is a century year. Now here if you go by the logic of last two digits, that is 2 zeros here, you know that 1900 is divisible by 4. Right? So if 1900 is divisible by 4, we cannot say that it is a leap year. Because it is a century year, we have to check that divisibility by 400. Now is 1900 divisible by 400? No, 1900 is not exactly divisible by 400. So 1900 becomes a part of an ordinary year or a non-leap year. So the point is, for century years, 1700, 1800, 1900 and so on, it will be a leap year if it is divisible by 400. Otherwise it becomes an ordinary year. For example, let's say 1800. 1800 is not divisible by 400. So 1800 becomes an ordinary year. And if you take for that matter 1200, is 1200 divisible by 400? Yes, 1200 is divisible by 400. So we can say 1200 is a leap year. Right? So the point is, a year to be leap year, it must be divisible by 4. And for a century year to be leap year, it must be divisible by 400. Otherwise, these are considered to be ordinary years, which have got only 365 days. So if the question says that is 1862 a leap year or not, how do we check? This is not a century year, so we have to check the divisibility by 4. Now the last two digits here are 62. Is 62 divisible by 4? 62 is not divisible by 4. Hence this number here 1862 is not divisible by 4. So this becomes an ordinary year. So 1862 is an ordinary year. Right? If it is 1868, let's say, is 1868 divisible by 4? Yes, 68, the last two digits 68 goes 17 times in 4. So we can say 68 is divisible by 4. Hence 1868 is also divisible by 4. And if it is divisible by 4, then it becomes a leap year. And if it is a century year, for example, 1100, was 1100 a leap year? No. This is a century year. We have to check the divisibility with 400. 1100 is not divisible by 400. So if it is not divisible by 400, we can say it is a non-leap year or an ordinary year. But 800, the year 800 Is it divisible by 400? Yes, 800 is divisible by 400, and we are checking the divisibility by 400 because it is a century year. So since 800 is divisible by 400, it becomes a leap year. So 800 is a leap year, 1100 is an ordinary year, 1862 is an ordinary year, and 1868 is a leap year. So that's the simple logic to check whether a given year is leap year or an ordinary year. Let us now learn the concept of odd days, which is the most important part in answering questions from calendars. So as per the definition, in a given period, the number of days more than the complete weeks are called odd days. So in any given period, the number of days which are more than the complete weeks are referred to as odd number of days. For example, let's say a period of 10 days. 10 days is equivalent to 1 week plus 3 days. So we can say there are 3 odd days in a period of 10 days, right? If you say a period of 15 days, in a period of 15 days, it can be split as 2 weeks plus 1 day, right? 15 days equal to 2 complete weeks. 2 weeks is 14 days and 1 additional day. So this additional number of days after complete weeks is referred to as odd number of days. So in a period of 15 days, we have 1 odd day. Likewise, if we say a period of 30 days, in a period of 30 days, we have how many weeks? 4 complete weeks. 30 days can be taken as 4 weeks and 2 days because 4 weeks is equal to 28 days. So 30 days can be split as 4 weeks plus 2 days. So in a period of 30 days, we have 2 odd days. Likewise, for any given period, the number of days more than the complete weeks are referred to as odd days. For example, let's say a period of 50 days. Now in a period of 50 days, we have how many weeks? 7 complete weeks, because 7 weeks is equal to 49 days. So 7 weeks and 1 day. So 50 days can actually be split as 7 weeks and 1 day. So therefore there is 1 odd day in a period of 50 days. Likewise, if you say a period of, let's say 49 days. Now 49 days is equal to 7 weeks. And there is no additional number of days, right? So 7 weeks plus 0 days. So we say in a period of 49 days, we have 0 odd days. There is no odd day, right? Likewise, in a period of 28 days, 28 days is equal to 4 weeks. There is no additional number of days, right? So there are 0 odd days in a period of 28 days. So the simple point here is the number of days which are more than complete weeks in a given period are referred to as odd number of days, right? Now let's move on. Let's say 100 days. 100 days is equal to how many weeks? 7 into 14 is 98. So 7 into 14, 98. So there are 14 weeks which makes up 98 days, and then 2 days more. So this can be taken as 14 weeks plus 2 days. So we have 2 odd days in a period of 100 days. Let's take an ordinary year, right? An ordinary year, as you know, has got 365 days, right? So let's consider, let's understand how many odd days do we have in an ordinary year, right? Now in an ordinary year, you know, we have got 365 days. Now these 365 days can actually be split as 52 complete weeks. Yes or no? You must be aware that in a given year we have 52 complete weeks, right? So 365 days can be taken as 52 weeks plus 1 day. Yes or no? 52 weeks is equal to 364 days. 52 into 7 is equal to 364. So 52 complete weeks and 1 additional day. So 1 odd day. So we can say that in an ordinary year we have 1 odd day. What happens in a case of leap year? Let's understand that. In leap year, as you all know, leap year has got 366 days. So these 366 days can be taken as 52 complete weeks plus 2 days. 52 weeks again is equal to 364 days plus 2 will give you 366. So we say there are 2 days, 2 odd days in a leap year. So the point to be noted here is that in any ordinary year there is only 1 odd day, and in any leap year there would be 2 odd days. And in general, for a given period, the odd number of days can be calculated as the number of days which are more than the complete weeks. Before we move ahead and calculate the number of odd days for longer periods of time, that is what will be the number of odd days in 100 years, or the number of odd days in 200 years, the number of odd days in 700 years, the number of odd days in 2014 years, and so on. Let us first understand how does this idea of the number of odd days help us in deciding the day of the week. Now the point to be noted here is that 1st January 0001 AD, that is 1st January of the first year, was a Monday. Right, we are now in the era of AD, right, 2014 AD. So the 1st January of the very first year was a Monday, which means a day before that was Sunday. Now you might be wondering, how come we have something before first day of the first year? Well, that was the period of BC. Now we are into AD. So that day which was before 1st January of the first year AD was Sunday, and that is taken as our reference point. Now, which means in a given period of time, if we have 0 odd days, then the day is considered to be Sunday. Likewise, when we are finding out the number of odd days for a given period, and if it comes out to be 1, then that date is considered to be a Monday, right? It falls on Monday. Likewise, if we have 2 odd days, then it is taken as Tuesday. 3 odd days will give us a Wednesday. 4 odd days will give us Thursday. 5 odd days means the day is Friday. And if there are 6 odd days, it means it would be Saturday. Likewise, if there are again 7 odd days is not possible, because we cannot have 7 odd days. 7 odd days is equivalent to 1 complete week. So 0 odd days. Again 0 odd days will give us Sunday. Right? If there are, let's say, 9 odd days, 9 odd days is nothing but 2 odd days, because 9 odd days is equivalent to 1 week plus 2 days. So 2 odd days will give us a Tuesday. So this is the reference that we need to use while finding out the day of the week, right? So in a given period, if we have, let's say, 5 odd days, if we get 5 odd days, then that last day of that period can be taken as Friday, because 5 odd days refer to Friday. Right? So for any given period, when we find out the number of odd days from this particular point, let's say from 1st January of the first year, that number of odd days would give us the respective day of the week. So for any given period, when we calculate the number of odd days from our reference point, what is our reference point? The day before 1st January of the first year, right? So we are starting from 0, right? So from that reference point, when we find out the number of odd days, we will get the day of the week. Let's say I have to find out what day will be 1st of May 2014. Now, if I can calculate the number of odd days from Sunday, the first Sunday, 0th day, right? From that day, if I can calculate the number of odd days up to 1st of May 2014, I can find out the day of the week, right? So based on the number of odd days, we can pick up the day accordingly from the given reference chart. So this is an important part that you need to remember for finding out the day of the week. Simply remember that 0 odd days is a Sunday, 1 odd day is a Monday, 2 odd days will be Tuesday, and so on up to 6 odd days will give us a Saturday.